Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be covering my top 5 manhwa of the week that really just blew me away this week. 2 honorable mentions this week because I didn't want to keep repeating the same couple of manhwa that I have been for the past few weeks. The first of those is Legend of the Northern Blade, as well as Nanomachine had crazy chapters this week. Nanomachine is wrapping up kind of the situation that occurred with this brutal destruction massacre that the main character did. And Legend of the Northern Blade finished off with a character looking like he's dead earlier than I thought he would. I thought this guy was going to be among like the big enemies later on in the story, but it doesn't seem like he's going to be. And I have to say, I'm not sad about that because I didn't think he was particularly interesting. That being said, there's some shakeups in the power systems of Legend of Northern Blade right now, in who is going to be like the allies versus the enemies, and I think we're going to have some interesting shakeups soon, and some people that may have been enemies before may end up being allies very soon, and I'm very, very happy to be seeing that. Nonetheless, it seems to be a three-way battle is going to take place between the Central Alliance, the White Knight, well, the White, I forget the name, and Jin's group, but I think there's gonna be like some people joining Jin's factions soon enough. But yeah, guys, if you're not checking these ones out, God, they're so darn good. They're in my favorites right now. You definitely should be. Starting off at number 5 this week, we have Manager Kim. Oh my lord, Manager Kim, we finally have the daughter seeing what level of a badass her dad is as he takes down an army of soldiers. And you know that the real challenge is about to come because we're about to have the confrontation between the kidnappers and the father. That being said, I'm actually really excited about this series. I think won't be a long one. I think we're going to have like the wrap up with them and finishing whatever storyline takes place with the kidnappers. And I think probably the story will come to an end after that. And actually, I'm pretty hyped by the idea that we have a little bit of a concise story that has a clear ending ahead. So I hope they don't overly stretch it out and we could have another great finished manhwa out there that I can recommend you guys in the future. At number 4 this week is a manhwa that was my first time checking out, and that is The Hero Returns. My lord, this one is, if I remember correctly, comes from the same person that writes Leveling with the Gods, and it's damn good. The setup is pretty generic. It's not crazy. Like, there's towers, there's leveling, there's gates. We've seen this a million times before, but it definitely feels good reading it. The manhwa has great art, good combat, and solid dialogue, and I have to say, the main character coming from a place where he was the only hero that was still alive, the only person at all alive at the end of the story, and got defeated before he was able to defeat the final monster, means that he has a second chance to start again. But I just like the way they've set things up in this story. I like the way he has these little interaction with his mother. He's not living the same life he did before. It's not like he went into his own body as a kid. He's in the body of a different character. And this kind of adds a layer of interesting things going on. Not to mention, a character that was a villain from his previous life could become an ally in the future, and I just like the way they're doing that. They're making a situation where sometimes a villainous character has reasons why he became that villain, and if you do things in a certain way, you can kind of change the pathway people take in life, and I'm really digging that. Not to mention, I really like everything that took place in the village recently, in the most recent arc, because he's going into these gate-like worlds. He's taking on these. He did the 10th floor of the tower, and the challenge he faced on the 10th floor was just interesting. Honestly, I just like the way they're setting things up in this story. So guys, if you're not already checking this one out, I definitely recommended it this week on TikTok, but please do go ahead and read this one. It's worth your time. At number 3 this week is Soulstation Druid. Okay, Soulstation Druid has been one of the ones I've been really enjoying since it came out. Of the newer like batch that came out around that time, like the Soulstation series, there's the Soulstation Necromancer, Soulstation Druid, and there's a couple of series that came out around the same time. This one was really one that was a highlight for me because it felt a little different. There's this beast-like main character. He was stuck thousands of years in this other world. He became this really overpowered badass, which again, not all of that is completely original. I'm not born yesterday. I know that too. But it has always been a pretty darn good way of setting things up. I have to say, the most recent little arcs have not been that great, though. While I do like it, I don't think its art is as good as some of its competitors. Like, they came out around the same time as the Return of the Legendary Spear Knight, Return of the Eighth Circle Mage, that have much stronger art styles. But I have to say that I do enjoy the characters of this story. I like the way they interact. I like that it's a little different than the typical thing out there in their way of interaction. From a power system standpoint, nothing's too crazy, but the OP-ness of the main character is still pretty darn OP. And there is a mystery in the background of something coming in the future. There's a regressor in the story that we had the chance to interact with a few chapters ago. So I'm looking forward to see what they end up doing with that, because I think there's some potential for the story. That being said, it was still one that I enjoyed this week, particularly as I caught up to the newest chapters. At number 2 this week is Mercenary Enrollment. And if you know me at all, you love seeing bullies get beaten down. And in this case, I also enjoy seeing people that are showing off of how weak the opponent is, just getting what's coming to them. And this week, Ijin, oh glorious Ijin, just proved why he is the best of the best, as he takes down bodyguard after bodyguard after bodyguard after bodyguard. And it is so much fun, guys, because it's like 1, 2, 3, and it's so bad that they're like, "Lo, let's throw more people at him," and the head bodyguard's like, "Nah, man, we're already really embarrassing ourselves here, and if we do that, it's only gonna get worse. Let's just walk away, end it here. We've already lost this, and we just need to accept it." And I was like, "Huh, that's very mature." And I don't know, it's just such a good series with such a good main character, good side characters. I enjoy everything happening with that organization that he works for, the girl that has a crush on him, and all these things that are happening around him are really fun. I do kind of want to see Ijin become more normal as a teenager. It sounds a little weird. I'd like to see him go on a date. I'd love to see him fall in love. I know it's not what they're doing with the story, but I would love to see what Ijin that falls for a girl, gets a first kiss, stuff like that, how he would be if that girl got kidnapped afterwards. Because so far, with his little sister, he's been a little bit more emotional. He's been like really aggressive to try and protect her. But I'd really like to see what he'd be like if he fell in love with someone and how that would affect things. That being said, I don't think that's where they're going with the story. They're keeping him distant. They like building this stoic character that is distant from everyone else to a certain extent. But I would love to see it, because it definitely would feel different than other things out there. And Mercenary Enrollment can always... It always tends to surprise me, because I thought we were on a downward spiral with Mercenary Enrollment after we finished the initial school arc, but it turns out it's given me a lot of awesome chapters that I've really been enjoying up till now. At number 1 for this week is The Great Mage Returns After 4,000 Years. I love this manhwa. It's in my top 5. It's fighting up there right now. I think it's my number 3 right now, maybe number 2. I don't know. It's just so darn good. I love it so much. And this past chapter finally has the main character going on the attack. And that's really exciting to me. One thing that's a little sad, I'm afraid that one character may die, which is not cool. There's a side character that might not survive this little situation. I've loved in the most recent chapters that we had a situation where he screamed back at the brother for being the cause of his misery, of the body he's in's misery, and the reason why he tried to end his life. And just that whole situation around that was just so damn good. I'm loving the action. It's so good. But the fight we're about to have is going to be nuts. This week he was fighting against his dad. The father didn't even stand a chance in hell. He was just getting beaten left and right. And I loved every freaking second of it. So guys, if you've been enjoying these manhwa this week, please do leave a comment down below on what your chapters were this week that you enjoyed the most, what you've been catching up on, what maybe you've been falling a little bit behind on, what you've been dropping, what you've been keeping, because I'm always up for more recommendations and I love this. Also, please like and subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of content. I do intend to do this weekly just to give you guys an idea of what I've been reading and what I've been liking, and also what maybe I've been dropping, because sometimes manhwa can get a little disappointing after a while. That being said, thanks for watching, guys. Have yourself a great day.